Welcome to the Brian Craig Show podcast. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. The Brian Craig Show is brought to you by Tom Leaport from Leaport Roofing, covering from Jupiter to Miami, Tampa to Naples, and everywhere in between. Tom Leaport at Leaport Roofing will never sell you a roof you do not need. His number, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. All right, so Trump got his immunity today, and there's
He's having a good week.
Oh yeah, there's complete meltdowns. They'll tell you all day and all night, limited immunity, limited. It's only limited immunity. If this was limited immunity that Trump had gotten, they wouldn't have these meltdowns. AOC's talking about impeaching the 6 justices. She's going to file articles of impeachment.
These people are crazy.
Against the 6 justices that ruled it in the right way. If this was limited immunity that did not apply to all these phony cases against him, they would not be having meltdowns.
Well, they're upset because they're not getting their way. That's the first thing.
Yes.
Liberals can't stand it when they don't get their way. They're crybabies. But this has always been this way. Presidents have always had immunity. This is not new. This is not new with Trump. They're only upset because it involves Trump and it's working in his favor.
Yeah.
But this is not a new law that they created just for him. It's always been like this in our country since the beginning. So the only reason they're upset is because it benefits Trump. Mm-hmm. And they're making such outrageous statements on Twitter. They've lost their damn minds once again. They just have gone off the deep end.
Yeah, you're right. And, when the lawyer for the corrupt Justice Department was arguing in front of the Supreme Court, he was arguing that this case only applies to this president because they were asked about future president. See, Donald Trump is the only president to not be a part of the political establishment of their day. Every single president that we've ever had before Trump, and of course now Biden, but every single president other than Trump was a part of the political establishment. So they did. What Trump's biggest crime is to these people and their sick, twisted mind is that he's not part of them, right? They can't control him. He's not part of the establishment. And that's what the problem they have with him is. And all of these cases against him now are gone. They're going to completely fall apart.
Well, especially Jack Smith. They said that he will have to start over, reevaluate. This will definitely postpone things past the election now. And it's probably, like you said, with that judge in Fort Pierce going to go nowhere. I'm curious what's going to happen with the convictions that were in New York. You know what I mean? How many of those were attached to
the civil cases
things
are different,
happened
but
when he was president?
The one with the corrupt judge, they say in this ruling that he has immunity from official acts. Well, who's to say what official acts are and what are not? I'll give you an example. When Obama was running for re-election, even though he was running against that idiot Mitt Romney, it was not a sure bet that he was going to win re-election. There's a lot of revisionist history. Obama was not that popular as people think, okay? He was president a long time ago now. But one of the things that was being discussed was that he was too weak. He was too weak militarily and foreign policy-wise. He ordered the bin Laden raid so that he could look tough. Bin Laden, believe me, the United States knew where bin Laden was for years. A lot of this information came out. They knew where bin Laden was for many years, and they were monitoring him because he was a source of intelligence information on the terrorists for years out of that compound. And they took about, and then if you remember, after they took out bin Laden, the Obama-Biden re-election campaign slogan was, bin Laden's dead, GM's alive. Remember that? Bin Laden's dead, GM's alive. So that whole bin Laden raid was so they could get a campaign slogan. That was the whole thing. So was that part of an official act? A lot of people other than bin Laden died in that raid, right? So was that an official act? Or was that him doing something to save his own skin and his personal life, which was to get reelected? Presidents have always had immunity, and they do. It doesn't mean they can send SEAL Team 6 in to do things, okay? The impeachment process, remember, a president can be impeached for committing high crimes and misdemeanors. Now, what impeachment has become is a political tool. We don't like him, so we're going to impeach him because we don't like him. It is a legal proceeding, impeachment. So if a president commits a crime, okay, there's two ways that he can face justice. One is the impeachment, and then there's a trial in the Senate, okay? The vice president can invoke the 25th Amendment in that instance too. If a president has gone out and committed some serious felonies, the vice president and the cabinet during this impeachment can come in and remove him temporarily through the process, and then he has a trial like anybody else. You can't have a situation where a local county prosecutor or some local judge in another county somewhere else can bring charges against a president or a presidential candidate like is going on with Trump. It would make our government weaker than we could imagine.
Well, that's what the liberals want. They want to weaken our government.
Just with Trump.
Well, no, I think they also want it for people in the future that are
they don't
Republican. They want to destroy the country. They want to ultimately rewrite the whole Constitution.
Yeah.
I mean, these are people that hate our country. They hate everything we stand for. All the Supreme Court did today was uphold the law that's already in place. They didn't add a law, change a law. This is not for Trump's benefit. Every president has had immunity. I mean, Obama had a drone strike that killed an American girl that was kidnapped. She died. Is he responsible for it? Yeah, but did he go to jail for it? No. George Bush lied about WMDs. How many people were killed,
That's right.
maimed in that fake war? They called him a war criminal. If he didn't have immunity, they probably would have brought him up on charges. I'm not saying maybe he didn't deserve it, but our country could not stand if we have presidents being constantly prosecuted for political reasons over and over and over again.
And,
I mean, look what's happening now with Trump, how the left have taken advantage of the court system with him. Do you think this is the last time this is going to happen now? This is going to be tit for tat over and over and over again.
Let's go back to Bush, okay? G.W. Bush, the WMD in Iraq lie, okay? That was not something done in his official act. He did that for two reasons. One, Saddam Hussein, after the Gulf War in 1991, when Bush 41 was no longer president and Clinton was president, H.W. Bush visited Kuwait, and Saddam Hussein tried to assassinate Bush 41.
Right.
It was unsuccessful, obviously, but he tried to assassinate him. It was a big plot that was foiled. George W. Bush wanted to get Saddam because of that, and there was a profit motive with all those Cheney companies and everything,
exactly.
right?
It's totally personal.
And the military-industrial complex donors. So was the lie about WMDs in Iraq, which caused a war that killed more than we know and destroyed so many lives, was that an official act of George W. Bush? I don't think so. I think it was pretty personal and also for profit. Right now, with this war and this proxy war against Russia and Ukraine, this is something that Biden is doing with these Washington politicians for profit from the donors, the military-industrial complex. So is this an official act or not? This is
I think official is anything they do while they're president.
Well,
that's how I interpret it.
What I'm saying, Kathy, is a lot of things that seem like official acts really are selfish, personal things. As an example,
well, that's so
if
subjective.
they're doing something to get revenge because some leader tried to assassinate their father, or they're doing something to enrich themselves, it's not really an official act. So, this idea that the immunity is limited and they can still go after him. Let me play some of this talk today from some of the more well-known liberals. This one is Joy Reid. And Joy Reid went and put a video up. She did a short and put it up online. She doesn't sound lucid, Joy Reid from MSNBC.
Well, that's nothing new.
So this is not how you see her on TV at night. She's not even making sense. If this is limited immunity and Trump can still be prosecuting all these fake crimes, she wouldn't be so incoherent. Listen.
This election is no longer about the old guy that's in the White House now. Like, all the op-ed pages and the New York Times can run around and opine about, what Joe Biden should do. And, y'all have fun with that. Enjoy yourselves, intellectual thought leaders. I no longer care. Doesn't matter to me anymore. It's above me now. It's above me now. There's a Waffle House next door. There's a Best Western next door as well. It's above me now. It's above Joe Biden now. Don't care about Joe Biden's age, infirmity, that he shuffle when he walk. I don't care. He could be seated for the rest of from now to election day and never get up off a chair. He could sit down. He could roll around in a wheelchair. He could be on a skateboard, seated. I don't care.
So what does she mean, the Waffle House and the Best Buy?
I have no idea. That I told you she's nuts. She's lost her mind. That what's between the debate and this, she's completely not. Yeah. She's not making sense. Yeah. And if she doesn't care about it anymore, how could she continue with her program talking about these issues if they no longer matter and she doesn't care? She has lost her mind.
No, what she's saying is she doesn't care how infirm Joe Biden is. He needs to be the president, even if he's a babbling pile of goo. Yeah. It doesn't matter. I don't care if he's in a wheelchair or if you have to push him around. I don't understand, other than their own fantasies, what Trump has done that's so scary to them. What has he ever done that is just terrifies them, other than saying things they don't like and hurting their feelings?
Yeah.
What has he ever done that has been so bad? Everything he's done has benefited the country.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hear anything about COVID because he had nothing to do with that. He got that ship for Cuomo, and Newsom went on the news and said Trump, whatever he asked for, he gave him. He got those ventilators made. He did everything a man could possibly do in that kind of a situation. Okay, maybe he said some things people didn't like, but it's what you do that matters.
Didn't start any wars.
Okay, he didn't start any wars. He lowered taxes. We were safe. We had the Abraham Accords, all this stuff. What the hell did Trump do that they are so terrified of, than in their own freaking mind?
Everything was cheap.
I mean, these people fantasize.
Things now are 4 times as much money.
They don't live in the real world. They have fantasized in their mind that he is Hitler, that he is a danger. And I don't know where that comes from, other than their own personal demons that they have that they don't know what to do with. They've put it all on Trump.
You know,
what has he personally done?
When it comes to the media, there's a lot of things that factored in. The first thing with the media, okay, when he won the first time, the media, for the first time, lost their influence, right? The media, since the Kennedy era, have almost picked the presidents, right? They've always had influence over who got nominated.
They're not getting their way, so they can't handle it.
So they lost their influence in 2016. And they've been trying to regain it ever since. But a lot of the media is the media's got a lot of problems. The media is too incestuous with the Washington class and with the deep state and all of this. That's one of the big problems. These are their friends. Many of them are related and family members. I mean, go look at MSNBC and Fox News and I'm sure and CNN. How many people work on the air at these news outlets that worked in the Obama White House or the Biden White House or some other White House? You know, they're
the daughter of a big donor like Welker, or, you know.
We were watching CNN about 6 months ago. We were talking about this on the program way back then, and this blew me away. They had this new pundit on who was commenting on Trump. I'd never seen her before. And she's a great-granddaughter of President Herbert Hoover. Yeah. Who was president before FDR, right? And I'm thinking, my goodness, that's how incestuous Washington is, that even Herbert Hoover's great-granddaughter, is still a player there because she's part of the team. The country is the idea that we're a free country has been an illusion, okay? And we're run by this nobility class that are the permanent Washington class. We're the peasants.
That's right. They're snobs. They're stuck up. They're above everybody, and you have to have some. It's like they're royalty, and you have to have some kind of royal connection.
That's exactly right.
You know what I mean? You have to have some royal connection to be good enough to hang out with them. They're
the ruling class. Okay, so yesterday, Nancy Pelosi went on Jen Psaki's show on MSNBC. Jen Psaki, though she worked for Biden and Obama, right? And I don't care what anybody says, Nancy Pelosi was intoxicated. She was like really...
Oh, yeah, well...
It's hard to tell listening to the audio, but when you watch the video, she was having mouth problems. I mean, she was having a hard time coordinating her mouth. She was intoxicated on something. And she got very upset because if you remember about 2 weeks ago or so, her daughter released that piece of video where Nancy Pelosi said that January 6th was her fault during that thing, right? And over the weekend, in one of his speeches, President Trump said Pelosi admitted responsibility.
Yep.
Well, and then President Trump said she's got to be pretty upset with her daughter for releasing that video. Well, Nancy,
I would think so.
Nancy Pelosi's in this interview about, this was yesterday with Jen Psaki. So she was talking about if the Supreme Court rules and immunity is what the discussion was. And then deep into it, which I fast forwarded to, she starts talking about that film clip of her admitting responsibility for January 6th. And Nancy I think she was drunk because of this is floating around and she's probably ticked off about it.
And by the way, let's just go back to January 6th. Let's go back to January 6th because this is one of the charges against the president. The president goes on TV and says, I planned my own assassination. No, I didn't. He did.
So she's saying that Trump planned all that.
Wow.
She said on MSNBC yesterday.
Yeah, it's self-importance syndrome. They're just very self-important.
Well,
they want to believe that.
They convince themselves of all of these crazy things. If Donald Trump had done any of that, even the strongest MAGA people would be, hey, wait a minute, what's going on, President Trump? What's this? You know what I mean? There's none of this is the first time I've heard her say something like this. Her daughter screwed her over, right? So she can't throw the anger at her daughter. She's having a meltdown over it.
Well, liberals can never take responsibility or accountability. They can never admit they're wrong. They're all narcissistic control freaks.
So now President Trump planned an assassination. That's the first time I heard that.
I used to think that people like her and in the media, that they knowingly lie to people, that they know the truth, but they lie anyway. And I've realized, no, they lie to themselves too. They live those lies. There's a few that know they're telling lies and they tell them anyway. But most of these people are so deluded that they really believe the crap they're saying. Mm-hmm. She really believes that. Mm-hmm. Rachel Maddow she's for somebody who likes to look like a man, she's very girly. She cries constantly on camera when she doesn't get her way. She really believes that the country is falling apart and that Trump is a dictator. She truly believes that, even though there is zero evidence of that he has never done anything. Biden is the one throwing his political enemies in jail, but that's totally cool with them. These people are insane. They live in a fantasy world that they create. I will never understand the mind of a liberal. I really won't. And there's no getting through to them. There's no reasoning with them. It's like Jesus talks about in the Bible. Some people just will not see the truth. Just will not see the truth no matter what. And you could talk to them. Well, he didn't say that till they're blue in the face, but he talks about that in the Bible, how they just are not, it's people who don't have the Holy Spirit in them. They just will not see the truth of what's really going on no matter what you do or say. And that's how I feel liberals are. They're not red-pilled.
Yeah.
They don't get it. They never will. They create their own reality. And they really believe the lies that they tell you. Rachel Maddow really believes that Trump hired hookers to pee on him. She still probably believes it because she has to believe that, because in her mind, Trump is a bad, bad man, and that fits in with her. She cannot imagine that he's a decent guy. She can't live with that idea.
Well,
they're sick people.
Rachel Maddow,
they're sick.
She spent 4 years on that fake Russia dossier
thing. Yeah, she can never admit that she was duped.
When it was proven to be false, she was so humiliated in front of her viewers.
Yes.
She had a breakdown. And Rachel Maddow's breakdown is so severe, she doesn't even do her show full time anymore, right? She can't do it because she's, I've done over, I've been
she's got problems.
Over 30 years I've been on the air. There's been times that I've said something, I've been wrong, or and I felt stupid. I've never been so humiliated like that where I couldn't even go on the air. She can't even come back. She has never recovered from that. She's never been so humiliated. Now I want to tell you guys, Mike Lindell at MyPillow has a brand new mattress topper. It's called the My Mattress Topper. Brand new mattress topper. It comes in every mattress size from twin to California king and split king and every size in between, including the hard to find RV queen. Okay. And this new mattress topper from MyPillow with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. Listen to this deal. This is an amazing deal, Kathy. No matter which size you pick, $100 off. This is with our promo code Kane, $100 off. Mm-hmm. Okay. You get a free set of MyPillow sheets. And we've bought things where we've gotten free sheets. When you get the free sheets, you get to pick the color and pattern and all that stuff. They don't just send you some random sheets. So you get
that's a good deal. They're nice sheets.
So you get $100 off, a free set of MyPillow sheets, a 60-day money-back guarantee, a 10-year warranty, and free shipping. That's amazing.
That is.
I mean, Mike Lindell's practically giving it to you.
That's the best deal I think he's ever had.
And of course, that is with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. And, guys, Mike Lindell is a big supporter of ours. He supports all of my content. So when you use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, you're not just supporting Mike Lindell and MyPillow. You're supporting the podcast, my YouTube channel, radio show, and everything. In fact, Mike Lindell is such a strong supporter of all of my content that Steve and I, we're going to be live on the air on the 4th of July, sponsored by Mike Lindell and MyPillow. Okay, so please, guys, this is a big week for us. So go to MyPillow.com. You can use our promo code Kane at checkout on all the specials at MyPillow.com. But this new mattress topper, the My Mattress Topper, that's a pretty good deal, isn't it? So go to MyPillow.com. Use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. Oh, boy, we've only just begun. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be back right after this.
The world is torn apart by nuclear devastation, and hope is a flickering flame in the darkness. Join the journey of survival in the book from Florida-based author J. Scott Page, Desecration, available on Amazon. 6 months after the cataclysmic event, humanity is struggling to survive. Whispers of sanctuary in Omaha have ignited a glimmer of hope among the survivors. But the road to salvation is treacherous, with lawlessness and radiation every step of the way. As they approach Omaha, secrets buried beneath the surface threaten to unravel their very existence. Will they find refuge in the heart of darkness, or will Omaha reveal even darker truths? Find out when you read Desecration, available in Kindle and paperback on Amazon. Join the survivors on their quest for safety and redemption, and embark on a journey where every step brings them closer to salvation and damnation. Desecration, from author J. Scott Page, on Amazon. You've heard the news. People all over America are moving to new cities, new towns, even new states. But before you pack up and move your entire family, ask yourself this. Do you know anything about that new neighborhood? Don't just relocate. Relocate with confidence. Visit Maptimum.com. That's spelled MAP, T-I-M-U-M. And get to know your new neighborhood before you even pack a box. Whether it's across the state or across the country, Maptimum provides detailed, instantly generated reports on everything you need to know about your new neighborhood, from crime to schools, natural hazards, political leaning of the neighborhood, demographics, air quality, AI-generated insights, and more to help you vet your options. All you do is go to Maptimum.com, enter the area, the name of the neighborhood, or the zip code. That's it. You get a comprehensive snapshot at your fingertips. No more guessing and no surprises. So before you make that big move, make the smart move. Visit Maptimum.com. That's MAP, T-I-M-U-M. They cover the entire United States. Maptimum.com, your first step to a new beginning. Maptimum.com. Are you ready to discover the champion within you? In Hello Champion, a journey of faith, healing, and recovery from the perspective of a cancer survivor and overcomer, author Lachelle Farmer shares her inspiring journey of overcoming cancer. This must-read and powerful book will help you fight despite the odds. You'll learn to conquer fear as well as anxiety and find purpose in your challenges, as well as learn to believe in God for the impossible. Author Lachelle Farmer's story is a beacon of hope, showing that wherever you are, whoever you are, there is a winner within you. Hello Champion is available on Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, and the author's website, HelloChampion.co. If you want to become a published author, email HelloChampionInfo@gmail.com or visit HelloChampion.co to schedule a free consultation. Embrace your inner champion and order your copy of Hello Champion from author Lachelle Farmer.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. I just saw on the Drudge Report that Ukraine is saying that they stopped a coup attempt in Ukraine. And I don't understand how that happened. Zelensky is no longer the legal president of Ukraine. Zelensky finished his term and has suspended elections until the war is over. And this war could go on for 100 years, right? So it seems like he's the one that's launched the coup.
Exactly.
The Supreme Court ruling, though, because the left are telling you, okay, these 6 justices need to be impeached. They need to be removed. They're talking about adding more justices and packing the court and doing all this stuff. The court really what they did was cause a lot of chaos. They've thrown it back to the lower courts, and the lower courts—
They should have been more definitive, I think.
Yeah, the lower courts are the federal judges that are overseeing this. Chunkin in D.C., Cannon here in Florida. And what the Supreme Court really has done is just thrown everything in complete chaos.
Well, this is what worries me because liberals can never stop, okay? They have a mental disorder that is constantly moving along. It's never, satiated or whatever you want to say. So there's always a reaction to these things, and it's always extreme. And that's what I worry about. If Biden wins, or even now, they might do something. But I worry that this case in New York, this judge in New York, because of this ruling, is going to throw Trump in jail for 20, 30 years. Because the left are freaking out so much. They might see that as their only option to stop him. And now that the Supreme Court has made this ruling, I think he's going to do that. I think it's going to be a reaction to this, which is their reaction is always extreme and crazy and radical. And I think because of what the Supreme Court did, I don't disagree with what they did. I agree with you. They were a little too vague. But because of this ruling, I think it will have a direct impact on Judge Merchan in New York. And I think he will put Trump in jail for a long, long time, or he's going to try to. I really do. And that's what I'm worried about right now. You know what I mean? Because I think in their mind, this is the only thing they can do to stop him from winning.
Well, Judge Merchan—
20, 30 years, he can do it.
Judge Merchan, his daughter took the millions of dollars, right?
I know, but that doesn't matter to them.
So he's got to continue with this.
That's right.
And so—
Do you think he could do that as a reaction?
Yeah,
though?
so what would happen
That's what
is—
I'm worried about.
the Judge Merchan can throw the whole sentencing book at Trump.
He will.
And if it's not constitutional based on the Supreme Court ruling, all the Trump people can do is go to the appeals court where it's tossed out.
Which takes years and years and years.
No, they should probably expedite it in a case that's a crisis like this. They could
won't.
expedite it. They could have already— yeah, I know. They may
It's
not.
New York. They won't. They'll drag it out and keep him there as long as they can.
Well, that appeals court is ruled in Trump's favor before, but he could definitely do that. And he can't go to jail for it because he could— well, that's my interpretation and appeal
Exactly.
it. So, the Supreme Court—
I think that's what's going to happen.
while they
now.
said that Trump has immunity, they weren't strong enough in their opinion, so they've just created more banana republic chaos, it seems to me. Wouldn't you think?
Well, I didn't read the whole opinion.
Well, who did? It's all legalese.
But the other justices, Sotomayor, I read some of her opinion, and she gave these very extreme, crazy situations that have terrified the left
nuts.
now.
She's nuts.
She's talked about things I'm not going to mention here.
About SEAL Team 6 and stuff.
Yeah, and now that has given the left a lot of thought for their sick fantasies and their imaginations, and I think that they are going to demand this judge throw him in jail for 20, 30 years, and they're going to say you have to do it because he's dangerous, and if you don't do it, he's going to end up in the White House, and this is the only thing. But Trump said he can run the country from jail. So
that's right.
I think he'll win anyway. Biden, like I predicted and told you guys, is not dropping out. It is not going to happen. I've been saying this all along. His wife will never let it happen. And like Joy Reid said, they don't care if they wheel him out in a wheelchair and he's drooling all over himself. Can you imagine how sickening these people are? I mean, our country is just a joke. If she wheeled him out in a wheelchair, Joy Reid is saying, and he's drooling all over himself and can't even put a sentence together, she doesn't care. She's going to vote for him anyway, and you should too.
Go to the Waffle House.
I mean, that's how bad Trump is in their mind. These people, I can't even listen to them sometimes because it's so nuts.
Well, the problems with Biden are not over because even if he stays in it, there's been so much division inside the Democrat movement at all levels.
Oh, Andrew Yang is trying to get him out. He's really trying to get him out hard.
That they are in total chaos. There's some donors are with Biden. A lot of donors are not. Andrew Yang probably thinks he can get the nomination.
Something, because he said the donors are saying, we'll give you money, but not if Biden's going to be the nominee.
Yeah, if you guys remember, Andrew Yang was the guy who ran last time, and he wanted to have universal basic income. He's a billionaire, and he wanted everybody to have.
He's got the hashtag push Biden out or something like that. He's really pushing that hardcore.
He's trying to make a path for himself to be a leader outside of the donors.
Or something. Mm-hmm. Where's he from?
United States.
No, I mean, what state?
Oh, I cannot remember.
Does it matter? Like, could he be Newsom's VP?
Sure.
Yeah. So that's probably what he's
down the
angling
road
for
next time around.
Maybe that's what he's.
A lot of what's going on is this inside the Democrat Party right now. The Democrat Party is in complete chaos. They're going to lose. Okay, they're going to lose because they have no unity. Since we're so close to the election.
Yeah, I agree.
They have no unity, which means they have no national party organization. So they're going to lose. Even if it wasn't Trump, they lose because there's too much division and no organization. So when this election is over and they lose not just the White House, it's going to really hurt them in congressional races and governors. It's going to hurt them everywhere because they have no organization.
Well, it shows you how selfish Joe Biden really is. He doesn't care about the country.
No. So what's going to happen is when the election is over, the Democrats are going to now fight to try to reorganize the party. They're going to try to do to the Democrat Party a lot what Trump did to the Republican Party in the last few years, where the MAGA movement has taken over the Republican Party. The Trump family took over the RNC. The Democrats, they're going to have these Andrew Yangs and others. They're going to be fighting to reshape and take over the Democrat Party from the establishment, whoever that is. And
good luck.
And it's going to be a complete. So there's a lot of people like Andrew Yang and others that are. But Whitmer in Michigan, she doesn't want to get blamed for Biden losing Michigan. So she's already saying he can't win Michigan. He can't win Michigan because of all this stuff. So when he loses Michigan, she doesn't get blamed for it because she wants to run for president or vice president.
It's going to affect a lot of careers.
Well, Michigan is one of those important states. Trump wins Michigan, he's got it. So for that kind of admission coming out about me, this is going to be just one of the most devastating elections the Democrats have ever seen in our adult lifetime.
This is probably certainly one of the most interesting election years this country has ever had.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this kind of stuff that's going on, when you think about it, you have one candidate who's been convicted, obviously falsely, 34 counts, who's facing jail. Yeah. You have another one who they're trying to push out, who they're not successfully getting to leave. I mean, it's crazy, but America's such a strong country. We will get through this and survive this. It really shows the strength of the country is the people, because even though the government's in chaos, we're still together and we will always be together because America is strong and the people are strong, and all these crazies on TV do not represent the country at all. They're just people that have their own agenda, and these liberals that are in this elite group in the media absolutely have lost their mind. I mean, if to sit there and say that I'm going to vote for Joe Biden, even if he's like a complete has complete Alzheimer's and doesn't even know who he is insanity. That is total insanity. I mean, that is how bad they think Trump is in their mind. And again, I'd like to know, what has Trump done that is so horrible to this country?
Yeah.
Why are they so afraid of this guy?
And Biden, I mean, think about how out of control the Bidens are. So they had this family retreat at Camp David.
Yes.
And then they come out and say, Biden had a face-to-face with Hunter. Hunter said, "Stay in it, Dad." So he's going to do the right thing and say, Hunter was just convicted of major federal gun charges. He's got other federal charges out west coming. He's a lifelong addict who's still an addict. And the Bidens, for some reason, think that it makes Joe look good that he's doing this for Hunter and that Hunter's like a senior advisor to the president of the United States.
Is Hunter having any influence over what's going on in our country right now?
Apparently a lot.
I mean, he lives there. Is the whole Biden family running this country?
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, not the whole Biden family. Jill.
No, but I think Jill and Hunter.
Yeah.
And who the hell? Maybe Biden's brother and sister.
Yeah.
That's who you're voting for.
It's crazy. It's
but they still
insane.
think that's better than Trump. These people are absolutely.
You know what's weird
I don't get
about
it.
this? This is what's weird about this. Everyone in the country used to love Donald Trump. Okay. Now things started to turn when he got together with Sheriff Joe Arpaio and was asking about the Obama birth certificate. That's when things started to turn. But he still, when he was doing The Apprentice, I think The Apprentice was on Sunday nights. For some reason. I remember we used to watch it. What night? What was it on Thursday nights? What night was The Apprentice on? I don't know. But The Apprentice was the #1 show on network television when it was on. #1 show in America for years. And he'd still be doing it probably if he didn't run for president. So, this guy he was so beloved, he was doing cameos in Home Alone 2 and all these different movies. Then he's got the #1 show on network television on NBC. That's crazy. And now all these people that loved him just on a dime.
They all turned on him.
But he was even loved after he was asking for the birth certificate because The Apprentice went on to be the #1 show in America even after the birth certificate stuff. And then because he put an R next to his name on a ballot, all of a sudden he's Hitler and the Antichrist and the devil and everything else. I mean, it's really not rational.
They're not rational
to think someone's great, and then just because they have a letter next to their name that you don't like, this R, that they're all these evil
I don't
things.
understand this.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Intense fear that they have of him, and I used to, like I said, I used to think that they just were lying, that they really knew he wasn't that bad, but they just were saying these things. They really think he's really evil. I mean, they really are afraid of this guy. And, when you see the reaction, I mean, Van Jones was crying. That was not fake. When you see the reaction from the debate, I told you this story that was online. Rob Reiner, another loser, had a big watch party at his mansion
for the debate. Oh.
And apparently he was screaming at the TV and Jane Fonda was there in tears.
Goodness.
These people are insane, and Stephen King, they're all on Twitter going crazy. They're just absolutely, I don't understand the fear where it's coming from. It's not like this guy, and then you have Zelensky, who they love, who literally has become a dictator. They love him. They love Chavez. They loved Castro. They literally go and hang out with dictators and invite them to their homes. Yeah. But Trump, I just don't understand this.
And, Rob Reiner.
They are so crazy.
It doesn't surprise me that Rob Reiner has a debate watch party and Jane Fonda's there. Jane Fonda and Rob Reiner never achieved anything on their own. Both of them are the children of successful people.
That's right.
Rob Reiner's dad, for those that don't know, is Carl Reiner.
That's right.
Okay, and everybody knows Henry Fonda, Jane Fonda. And Jane Fonda, that she should be in prison for what she did during the Vietnam War. She committed high treason. I've never seen anything at that level, and it's insane what Jane Fonda did. And
Trump's a bad guy.
That's right.
It's just incredible to me.
She went over there to North Vietnam during the war and sat down on a gun that was used to shoot down American aircraft. She did some terrible things at the Hanoi Hilton too. And she thinks Trump's the problem?
I know.
Is she out of her mind?
Yeah, they are. They are. They really don't see reality. I'm convinced that they really are super out of touch.
And Stephen King, he's one of the most overrated guys. I like the movies. The movies about his books are good, but have you read Stephen King's books, Kathy?
No, because I was told they were terminally boring.
They are
long.
this guy must get paid by the word. I I will say there's only one book he wrote that I read, and I read a few of his books. That was good. The original Running Man. It's a short book. It's a short one. It's almost like a pamphlet compared to his other books. I tried to read Salem's Lot. I was like on page 200 and there still wasn't a vampire. I'm like, what? This is a book about vampire. Do I got the right book?
Right.
Now, the movies that are based on Stephen King novels, most of them are really, really super good. But his books are boring. They go on forever. They're as thick as the dictionary.
Misery was a good movie. Shining was good.
Yeah, but the books are terminal. I've tried to read several of his books other than The Running Man.
He's just a windbag.
He's an overrated person. He's a highly overrated person. He got lucky with the Hollywood deals. Then they bring in screenwriters that are like really good writers, and then people, Stephen King, he's great.
I mean, Biden has done everything they accuse Trump of doing. He's put his political enemies in jail.
Yeah, Bannon's in prison now. Went to prison today.
He's funding 3 wars. All these wars. Europe was on high alert yesterday for terrorism. Yeah. All these countries were on high alert yesterday for some terrorist attack that they were being threatened by. None of this happened under Trump. None of this happened. There was somebody on the news, I can't remember who was in the room when Trump was talking to the leader of Iran. She said, I can't tell you what he said, but it was extremely clear that he let them know that if they F with him, they're not going to be happy. And she said, you know what? They didn't F with him. They did what he said because he was extremely stern and basically let them know, if you do what you think you're going to do to this country or me, it's not going to happen and you're going to be in trouble. That is somebody who's protecting America and keeping us safe. Not Biden, who's giving billions of dollars to other countries. Look at what George Bush did, how he destabilized. These people are all incompetent, corrupt,
that's right,
and deluded.
Now, it is, if you've watched the news, it is hurricane season. There's a hurricane now going through the southern Caribbean. It is hurricane rainy season here in Florida. And, of course, I want to talk about Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing, who will never sell you a roof you do not need. If you just need a simple repair, he'll do it. He covers from Jupiter to Miami, from Tampa to Naples, and everywhere in between here in Florida. He works on every type of structure there is, single-family homes, municipal buildings, condos, apartment buildings, warehouses, churches, schools, whatever type of structure it is, he does the roof. And he works with every type of roofing material. So if you have a leak in your roof, if you've got an old roof and need a new one, call Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. He will take very, very good care of you. And not only did he redo Steve Kane's entire roof, I've talked to many of our listeners whose roofs he has done and repairs he's done. One guy in particular is on the committee with his HOA, a big HOA community. This guy had a bunch of roofers come out to give estimates. All the roofers said that they needed a whole new roof. Tom Laporta from Laporta Roofing came out, said they just needed a simple repair. He is a guy that you can trust. And I want to give you his number. This number is Tom Laporta's cell phone. It rings directly to him. You don't have to go through an operator or a service.
It did. I was telling Brian, and I said on the other show that we had to call an air conditioner guy to come out. I called the company. Then they said, okay, it was an operator. All right, we'll have a dispatcher call you.
Yeah.
I had to go through like 3 people, and I didn't talk to the owner of the company. I mean, you know, they don't. This is one of the, and this is a big company, Tom Laporta.
It is a big company.
It's not just some one-man band. This is a big company, very highly professional, great staff, but you get to talk to the owner directly.
It's amazing.
How many companies, that tells me that he really cares, and he's very involved, and he cares about quality and about customer service and making sure people are happy, and that's very important.
So here's Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing's direct number, the number to his cell phone, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602, and online, LaportaRoofing.com. All right, when we get back from the break, there was a major happening on MSNBC, and this is going to blow your mind. We're going to get into that when we get back. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be back right after this.
Life's too short to spend it alone. Calling all seniors who are young at heart. SeniorMatch.com is the place to be if you're looking for friendship, romance, or companionship. The easy-to-use platform is designed exclusively for seniors looking to connect and build meaningful relationships. Don't wait any longer. Sign up for free at SeniorMatch.com today. That's SeniorMatch.com. In a world that's filled with so much stress, how would you like to find a gift that heals the soul? You can at the Etsy shop, S Tarot Store. S Tarot Store on Etsy is proud to present Masterpiece. Masterpiece is the most beautiful tarot deck in the world. It's the perfect blend of tarot tradition and cutting-edge AI tech. Masterpiece was created by a team of illustrators, designers, AI experts, and planners. It's a modern remake of the classic Rider-Waite Tarot. Each of the 78 cards features stunning hand-drawn artwork, refined through dozens of composite processes and enhanced with vibrant colors. Each card in the Masterpiece Tarot deck is unique, maintaining the rich tradition of tarot while offering a fresh new perspective. It's perfect for collectors, readers, and anyone seeking a touch of magic in their lives. The Masterpiece Tarot deck is available exclusively in the S Tarot Store on Etsy, online at etsy.com/shop/S Tarot Store. Order your Masterpiece Tarot deck right now at etsy.com/shop/S Tarot Store. S Tarot Store on Etsy. Gifts that heal your soul. Men, are you tired of looking tired? You can turn your tired eyes into a vibrant and refreshed look with a specially formulated under-eye cream for men at amazon.com/shops/Meditati. That's MEDITATI. This anti-aging formula is designed to repair and protect your eyes against the common signs of aging. Dark circles, puffiness, and those pesky crow's feet, gone. With Meditati, you'll say goodbye to those tired eyes and hello to a youthful appearance. It's packed with peptides, vitamin C, jojoba oil, green tea, CoQ10, and other essential ingredients. This formula will keep your under eyes bright and refreshed. It also keeps your skin hydrated with the highest quality natural and organic ingredients. It's crafted by skincare experts, and this non-greasy, lightweight formula absorbs quickly and efficiently, nourishing the skin around your eyes. So if you're tired of puffiness and wrinkles, go right now to amazon.com/shops/Meditati. That's MEDITATI. Don't miss out on this chance to give your eyes the care they deserve, because you and your eyes deserve it. Amazon.com/shops/Meditati. Have you ever heard that laughter is the best medicine? You'll find out how true that is with your weekly Therapy podcast, available on all podcast platforms. Host Tell and Anne-Marie, your not-so-typical therapist and nurse practitioner duo, have a flair for ADHD and life's hilarities. They'll make you laugh, cry, and maybe even rethink some of your life choices. And that's just in one episode. And no topic is off limits. Tell and Anne-Marie discuss everything from gaslighting, daily life with ADHD, and relationships. Add your weekly Therapy podcast to your podcast playlist, available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And you can catch the video podcast on YouTube. Don't just cope, laugh, learn, and sip some therapy. It's therapy with a twist. Share the podcast on all your social media so your friends can tune in too. Your weekly Therapy podcast. Start listening right now.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. So, Mika Brzezinski had a total freak out today on MSNBC. Listen to this.
Yeah, this is embarrassing.
This is someone say, someone.
It's kind of fun to watch.
It is. Well,
it is kind of fun
how can
to
you
watch the liberals freak out like this.
Well, I know no one watches Mika and Morning Joe because I'm on the air.
Exactly.
But so I gotta tell you about it after the fact.
I never watched.
But when you do something embarrassing on the air, what I've learned over the years is just move on. Like the next day comes, just pretend it didn't happen.
Exactly. Don't keep going.
And what happens when you do something embarrassing and then you keep going back to it, it makes it just much worse.
Absolutely.
Listen to this. This is in the New York Post today. The co-host of MSNBC's Morning Joe began Monday, that's today, with a 15-minute monologue to defend Biden's White House bid, despite admitting his debate performance last week was an unmitigated disaster. Now, if you remember, even they were saying that it was a disaster. But if you remember a few weeks ago, it was reported that Joe Scarborough every night talks to Joe before bed, which is probably like 6 o'clock at night, right? For Joe. So I guess he got on the phone with
well, he has to talk to him before
Biden.
6 because after 6, he doesn't know what the hell's going on.
Morning Joe co-host Mika Brzezinski acknowledged the poor debate performance in which Biden's voice was hoarse, and he appeared to freeze at times while struggling to gather his thoughts and articulate his answers during the CNN debate. It was bad. Biden couldn't seem to land a thought. It was an unmitigated disaster by any manner. Nevertheless, she continued what she called the global call for Biden to drop out and make way for a new party candidate. The left-leaning political – this was a 15-minute rant.
Stupid. The
left-leaning political commentator and Biden family friend, that's Mika, who said she has closely known the president and his family for decades. Remember, her father was the national security advisor to President Carter. Framed the sitting president as a lifetime underdog who will once again rise from the ashes come November. She praised Biden for the vintage sparkle in his eyes and winning smile at a North Carolina rally the day after the debate. He was checked out at that one. Yeah. That's the one where
that sparkles. It's more of a glazed over look.
That's the one when Jill took over the speech because he couldn't do it anymore, right?
You're right. The Democrats are so divided, and what they're divided over is what to do with him.
Mm-hmm.
Half of them want to do the 25th and get him out of there, and the other half are like her and doubling down. This is what they need to do. They need to invoke the 25th Amendment. They need to do it now. But they won't. He is not going to leave on his own. And if you guys have any chance of winning and beating Trump, this is what you have to do. But they won't do it.
Well,
so
let me get back to the article.
They're screwed.
Mika Brzezinski went on to say, I still believe in Joe Biden. I've learned that counting him out is always a mistake. And doing that now could be catastrophic for our country.
Oh, my goodness.
Who wrote this?
I think Jill Biden wrote it.
I think so. I've learned that counting him out is always a mistake.
Yeah, that sounds like Jill wrote that.
I think I've heard Jill say that.
Yeah.
Variations of it.
We know it wasn't Kamala because she's just too stupid.
Mika questioned Biden's schedule prior to the debate. See, this is the thing. It wasn't his fault. It's the staff, right? Back-to-back trips to Normandy for the 80th anniversary of D-Day, then Italy to the G7 climate summit, then to L.A. before heading back to the East Coast, and called for better management among his aides. He's the management. No. He's the guy. He's the boss.
A president should be able to handle that. I mean, look at everything Trump does.
I know.
The guy doesn't stop. We deserve better. I mean, are they going to lower the bar so much that this is what our expectations should be of our leader? Somebody who is only good 6 hours a day?
Yeah.
And that's acceptable? What's wrong with these people?
Mika Brzezinski went on to say, it makes me angry that Biden, was moving across the world on 4 different time zones. It seems to me this is a lack of discipline. See, blaming the staff again. Mika acknowledged
that's coming from Jill, no doubt.
Mika acknowledged
she did the same thing. She blamed the staff too.
Mm-hmm, that's right. The help.
No, her and Biden blame
the help. Yep. Blame the help. Nothing's their fault. Mika acknowledged the sneering, mocking, jeering headlines published across the country, pointing to multiple outlets who have published editorials calling on Biden to step out of the race. The New York Times published an editorial Friday calling on Biden to leave the race.
Yeah. The Atlanta Journal, Bill Maher wrote one today in the New York Times I read. They all said he should step down.
That's right.
But he's not gonna.
Brzezinski went on to say Biden has been counted out many times throughout his life before bouncing back. When was that?
Never.
This comeback kid crap.
Yeah,
I don't ever remember that. Where's that at?
Trump's the comeback kid.
From his 2, she gives some examples. From his 2 unsuccessful presidential campaigns to challenges in his personal life. That's a reference to his son that passed.
Yes.
She recounted the history of Biden tragedies, from the death of his first wife and infant daughter in a 72 car crash. Okay, let me stop there. Now that's a tragedy. However, what Biden did after that was insane.
Yeah, it is. A lot of people don't know this.
Biden's first wife and baby daughter died in that horrific car crash. Hunter and Beau Biden were in the car and survived. They were little boys. They were in the hospital. Biden this was like when he was running for election for the Senate for the first time. Biden took the oath of office for the Senate in the hospital room with Hunter and Beau Biden with their heads bandaged, of course, in front of newspapers.
With his wife dead and
his wife was dead. His daughter was dead. He took the oath for the Senate in the hospital room.
That tells you everything you need to know.
And then he went to Washington and left little Hunter and little Beau Biden with their heads bandaged alone in the hospital with, I don't know, an aunt or something to look after them. So,
He's a selfish person.
He got over that car crash right quick.
He got over his wife's death really
Mika
fast.
Brzezinski recounted the history of Biden tragedies from the death of his first wife and infant daughter in a 1972 car crash just after he was elected the junior senator from Delaware, to suffering 2 brain aneurysms in the late 80s, to his son Beau's death in 2015 from brain cancer.
That doesn't make him qualified to run the country.
No. I feel sorry for the guy. He's had tragedy.
I don't feel sorry for him.
I feel sorry for that's a lot of tragedy.
Everybody's had tragedy.
I know. But I feel bad for that.
My mom's dad had a heart attack in front of her when she was 6 years old.
Exactly. Make her president.
Right in front of her in the kitchen. My mom's dad dropped dead in front of her.
Life's
6 years
tough.
old.
We all have
and then she was
difficulties.
sent to a convent her whole life till she was 18. So
the
don't tell me about problems.
The MSNBC host defended Biden's age as well and the actions he's taken while in the White House. Mika Brzezinski says, age is wisdom and experience that in the case of Joe Biden leads to more bipartisan legislation passed than any president over the past few generations and the largest expansion of the NATO alliance in history. Mika claimed that America is stronger economically and militarily under Biden, even though groceries cost 4 times what they cost 3.5 years ago. She said the sitting president negotiated the toughest, most conservative border control bill in decades, only to see it torpedoed by Donald Trump. Donald Trump does not hold office. He didn't torpedo legislation. No. Okay, Brzezinski slammed Trump's bid for the presidency, saying the choice between Biden and Trump is one terribly bad night versus a decade of destruction to our core beliefs, our democratic values, and yes, then dramatic pause, our Constitution.
I don't know where this comes from. When has Trump destroyed the Constitution?
I don't know.
The people elected him.
I don't know.
Is that what they're talking about?
Yeah, I guess so.
Is the people's will what they're talking about? Let the people decide. But they can't do that. They can't do that. They have to be the ones to decide. They're the kingmakers.
And thing about this too that's
They're
also
insane.
Interesting. Notice how Mika did the 15-minute speech, not Joe. Right? That's humiliating that she did that. What an embarrassment.
Joe had to kind of come out and apologize and to his wife the next day because he was such a jerk to her. He's a jerk all the time. But that's a weird marriage.
It is a weird marriage.
That's a strange combination.
It is a weird marriage. Now, I want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters.
They're bonded by their hatred of Trump.
That's right. If you would like to support the program, a great way to do that is to become a Patreon supporter. If you would like to support the program as a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and every episode. And remember, Patreon supporters have access to commercial-free editions of all of our podcast episodes. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each and every episode. So the names I'm going to read off now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, K-Mac, Alice, Richard, Maria in Texas, David, Heather. I think Maria moved to Tennessee, though. Maria, let me know if you want me to change your name from Maria in Texas to Maria in Tennessee, okay?
Yeah, message us in the Patreon app.
I'll keep it Maria in Texas, even though you're in Tennessee now, but I could change it to Maria in Tennessee if you like. Let me know. LeeZep, Shawna, Constance, George, Brandon, Rob, and Trish Wilkerson, and Christy R. These are our top Patreon supporters.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And again, there's a link to our Patreon page in the description of this and every episode. You go to that link and it'll walk you through on how to become a Patreon supporter. Okay, so, this immunity thing today, it was obviously Trump has been given immunity. The next phase of this, I'm not a lawyer, okay, and these people are making up their own laws as it goes along. The next phase of this is the Trump lawyers will start going in front of these judges and making motions in all these cases.
Right.
Now, problem is this is 4th of July week. The government shut down all week.
Trump gets sentenced next week.
Yeah.
So I thought the RNC was going to make him the nominee and change the date. They have not done that.
No, we suggested they do that, but they haven't done it.
Why not?
I think.
Why do you think they're? Because they can control that.
I'll tell you why.
Trump's telling them
because it's the week. It's the week after the 4th of July, and there's so many delegates that made their travel plans and everything. I think it's just a logistical nightmare to move it. There's too many people involved, so I don't think they could really do it and have the delegates all there. But the problem is this week. The 4th of July is on Thursday, so the government is taking the whole week off. So they're not going to be able to get – plus these judges are going to slow walk everything anyway. So they could come in during the 4th of July week and handle things. They're not.
Well, the Jack Smith case is dead on arrival.
Yes, that's exactly right.
That's done.
So, yeah, but Kathy, the judge, the New York case is
what I worry
about. Jack Smith case.
No, I know, but I mean the case.
They're all Jack Smith cases.
I mean the case, right. I mean the case with the documents. And Fort Pierce, that's done. And what I'm worried about is the sentencing right now. That's what I'm worried about. And I feel there's going to be he's going to throw the book at him. There's going to be retaliation for this Supreme Court ruling. That's what I worry about. How many people have they thrown in jail? Peter Navarro, Steve Bannon, the J6 people, all these people. Yeah. I mean, you had Antifa destroying the country for months and months at a time. That was cool. Remember Biden said Antifa doesn't exist? It's just crazy to me, but that's what I worry about is the retaliation.
So the courts are pretty much shut down this week. And by the way, when I know Bragg is the face of the New York case, but they're all Justice Department cases. That's why That's why Bragg has that Justice Department guy, Caligula.
Yeah, he's running the show.
Okay, so So this is going to get not much is going to happen this week because of the 4th of July, and then next week's the convention. So we're going to have a couple weeks maybe of nothing.
What do you mean next week's the convention?
Or the convention comes is the 11th.
No,
right?
The sentencing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Yeah, the sentencing is in the 11th.
I'm getting like Biden. I'm having a Biden moment. So we've got the sentencing, and then the week after that we have the convention.
It's a week after.
Yeah, it's like a week later.
So what's going to happen if they take him away in handcuffs, which they're going to do? And throw him in the slammer.
Kathy, he'll accept the nomination through that glass screen on the telephone, like in the movies.
Oh my gosh,
okay,
crazy.
So there's so much going on. We got 4th of July. We've got sentencing. We've got the convention. It's a mess.
It is a mess.
It's a mess,
and it's all because of the liberals. They have just made a mess of everything. Everything they've done is a reaction, not to what Trump has done, just to what Trump has said. The things he says they don't like, they get upset. And they worry, and they just can't leave it alone. And everything is such an extreme reaction. That's what really worries me about things is he triggers them so much that they have really allowed themselves to go to down this liberal radical rabbit hole that they have no interest in coming out of. And coming back to normalcy. I mean, that one guy lost his primary, so that was good. That one squad member. And the guy said, we got to bring the Democratic Party back to. Yeah. And I think if there's any infighting in that regard, that's what it's going on with the Democrats is trying to get rid of these radicals and try to get them back to center a little bit more. But next week's going to be nuts. I know Trump's excited, but.
Well, the reason we got these things, 4th of July, sentencing, convention, that's chaos. And these evildoers with their lawfare, they benefit from the chaos because it causes confusion, which allows delays.
And
it's a mess.
Are there any convictions in the New York case where there were times where he was president?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. So if there are things he was convicted of that occurred when he was president, then I would think his lawyers would make a motion to get all those thrown out. And that could delay the sentencing a little bit. They're making motions right now, today, right after that ruling. So if there's any of those 34 counts happened while he was president, they're going to put in a motion to dismiss or to have a retrial, and that judge is going to have to do that.
But that Judge Mercan, his daughter took the $10 million.
Yeah, but he's still.
So what's he going to do?
What's going on with the appeal? Did they appeal those?
They can't go through the appellate process until this case is concluded. And it's not concluded yet because the sentencing hasn't happened. So they got to wait for the sentencing to move forward.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
It's nuts. This is the thing.
Makes your head spin.
And I'll tell you guys, when people were yelling, lock her up to Hillary, which, by the way, Trump never said lock her up. People in the crowd did. He never said it. And, that Captain Kirk never said beam me up, Scotty, but everybody thinks he said beam me up, Scotty.
Yeah.
Kirk,
and what's her face didn't say I can see Russia.
Yeah, that's correct. From my house. Kirk never said beam me up, Scotty, by the way. Big urban legend. Trump never said lock her up. Not once. I was surprised at that one. Till Trump said so. I was surprised at that one.
Yeah.
But back during that time, I said, you don't want to lock her up. It starts a bad cycle. And when this is all said and done.
Yeah, but the cycle started anyway. Yeah, and they didn't lock her up.
But when this is all done, it's going to end up fine. And a lot of these lawfare people are going to face justice. They're going to because they're committing a lot of crimes.
That's what they're really worried about.
A lot of people have.
Steve Bannon talks about that.
Look at the January 6th committee. The January 6th committee not only destroyed evidence, testimony that people gave that wasn't favorable.
They fabricated, edited.
When Cassidy Hutchinson said that Trump tried to take control of the car from the limo driver, which was stupid, the limo driver went to the committee and wanted to testify that it didn't happen, and they wouldn't let him testify.
The thing is, like Liz Cheney, if you look at her tweets, she thinks she's noble.
So Kathy, the January 6th committee, Smith, Merrick Garland, all these people have been committing major crimes. What they are, prosecutors, whether it's a federal prosecutor, attorney general, or a local prosecutor like Fannie Willis, they're like police officers. They have badges like police officers, a lot of them, right?
That's right.
They are like bad police officers. They're like Richard Gere and Internal Affairs. They're like bad cops that are charging people with crimes they didn't do. They're framing people up. They're forcing confessions out of innocent people by threatening long prison sentences and things like this. A lot of crimes have been committed by these lawfare people. None of these cases are legitimate cases. This judge in New York's daughter raised $100 million. She is part owner of that Democrat fundraising operation. So she gets a commission off of all the money raised.
Do you think Trump, though, is going to go after these people? I kind of think not.
He's not going to have time.
I mean, he's only got 4 years. Now, he might bring in somebody to head the DOJ and say, do what you want to do.
That's right.
And be like, go for it. Somebody who's a real pit bull. But I don't think Trump personally is going to get involved with that. He's only got 4 years. That's not a lot of time to do what he needs to. He keeps saying his revenge is success. And that's what he wants is the country to, and that is the best revenge is success. That's a businessman's way of thinking.
What's going to happen
and that's
is this.
what he says. He just wants success
This
for
is
the
what's
country.
going to happen, okay? There may be some Justice Department stuff, but a lot of these people, like even these judges, like the judge in the property case, there will be moves in these local communities to disbar them in their states. Some of these judges and prosecutors could get disbarred. This is going to be going on for years, and it's important that it does. It's not revenge. If this country devolves into a place where local county prosecutors can arrest presidents,
other than firing people, who has Trump gotten revenge on?
No one.
He said to Joe Biden, you don't fire anybody.
That's right.
And that's true. And he said, I fire people when they don't do their job. That's what you got to do. Other than firing people, what has he done to get revenge?
Exactly.
Nothing.
Exactly.
They're the ones that are out for blood.
Exactly. Now, listen, we're out of time for today, but this is the beginning of a big week. Now, we're not going to be here tomorrow.
Don't miss a show.
Yeah, we're not going to be here tomorrow with a new podcast because tomorrow was Kathy's birthday.
That's right. I'll be 54.
Oh, my goodness.
My sister, Allison, is her name. She's my stepsister, but I've known her since she was 2 years old. She is 49, so next year she'll be 50. So I called my dad. I said, next year, all 4 of your kids will be in their 50s.
It's crazy.
He didn't want to hear that. My dad will be 87 next year. He's sharp as a tack, though. He told me the hardest thing, he's got good genes. My grandfather lived to be 102.
He's Italian. They live a long time.
He's Italian. They live a long time. My grandma lived to be 90. He's told me, of course, his father died when he was 4, but he had, that was the French-Canadian side, but he had,
he wasn't
he had
Italian.
rheumatic fever and heart problems. But he told me, he said, the hardest part about getting, because my dad's very healthy and he's in really good shape. He's like Trump. He's very sharp.
Yeah.
His mind is as it was 30 years ago. He said the hardest part about getting older is watching his friends deteriorate. He said a lot of my friends have died. And my dad has a lot of friends.
Yeah.
He's in a golf club, and he has a lot of friends that he's known for years and years and years. He's a very sociable guy. He said a lot of my friends have died, and a lot of them are really sick. And he said, I'm lucky that I'm not sick and that I'm healthy, but he said it's very hard to see them. It's depressing. He said, for me to see them like that, because I knew them when they were young and healthy. And he said they're all getting old. And some of them, are dying of cancer. They can't walk, or they're losing their mind. And he said it's depressing me, and it's very upsetting. And I said, I know. He said it's very hard to see your friends deteriorate like that and die and things. And I said, I know it's got to be. Tough.
The thing,
you're at that age.
We're not at that age yet. Because
he's 80. He's almost 87.
Yeah, I'm 53.
Yeah,
right?
I'll be 54
tomorrow. And the thing about getting older, in many ways, I don't mind it at all, because you gain so much wisdom.
You do.
You gain. It's amazing how much wisdom and perspective you get. And I can remember when I was first started in broadcasting, and there were guys that were like my age, and they just thought I was some punk jerk. How dare I?
Were.
And I think back, and they were all right. They were all right, but
yeah, you are when you're young.
Weird thing, about friends is I haven't had friends die yet, really, but. I had a lot of friends when I was younger that were much older than me.
Yeah.
And when I went, if you guys remember a couple weeks ago, I went to Jacksonville, and I went to Georgia, and I went to those Star Trek sets.
Yeah.
I got together with some of my oldest friends that I was friends with when I was 15. And some of these people I've not seen in 30, 35 years.
And they're all in their 70s.
Some of them are in their 70s. Some of them are my age. But I was the youngest.
Yeah.
Some of them, there was one woman there. It was so funny because
you knew them all from the conventions.
She said, "How old?" And I said, "I'm 53." She says, "How can you be 53?" And I said, "Well, she's like, you were 16 last time I saw you." I said, "Well, I was 16 and you were 22. That was a huge difference. But now that difference, we're the same age."
Exactly. Right.
I mean? You know what I mean? So I in many ways, I like getting older. But I'll tell Kathy sometimes, how old's your dad going to be?
He'll be 87.
Okay,
next year, next March.
This year will be in December. Kathy and I will have had. This will be our 28th wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
So,
oh my gosh,
our 28th wedding anniversary.
Crazy.
Yeah. So,
holy mackerel.
When Kathy and I got married, your parents are older than my parents.
My dad was 56 when we got married. So he was 2 years older than me.
Your mother and father.
And my mom was 52.
Yeah. So your mother and father, you put that together. They were our age when we got married.
Yeah.
And they're both in their 80s now.
Well, look, Emily's 25.
So,
and you were 20. Emily and I have the same age gap as I have with my mother, 29 years. And when we got married, you were 25. I was 26.
Yeah.
So my mom was 52. My dad was 56. They're 4 years apart. And that's a little scary when you become middle-aged, is you look back
Kathy, we're beyond middle age.
Well, okay, when you're in your 50s.
we're past middle age.
Yeah, when you're in your 50s, what's scary is you look back 30 years ago, and it seems so quick, or 20 years ago, and then you think, in 20 years, I'll be in my mid-70s. Well,
this is
what's nuts.
This is what happens to me. Okay,
that's a scary thought.
And I go over this with Kathy sometimes.
Yeah,
okay?
And our parents will probably be gone by then in 20 years.
So I look, and we were talking about your dad's birthday. So your parents were our age when we got married.
Yeah,
and they're both in their 80s now.
Yeah.
So I tell myself, sometimes I'll think like this. It's crazy. I'll start doing math. I'll say to myself, the time that we've been married, that's how much time I have left in my life, probably. In double the time we've been married.
You never know.
I'm either going to be dead or on death's door, because I'm going to live to be 90, maybe.
You'll be in your 80s,
maybe. And I keep looking at things like that.
It's the circle of
life. And then yesterday morning, it was Sunday. And, of course, on the weekends, I always wake up early before Kathy, and I was doing some work around the house. I was doing laundry, actually. And I was listening to some music, and it was I put a video on YouTube Music, and it was all the hit songs from the 80s, and they would tell you the year. And I'm thinking, I have less time to live, probably, as like between now and when that song was a hit.
Such a depressing thought.
And I don't know if any of you think that way. I don't go around thinking like that
way.
I don't go around thinking that way all the time.
I hope not.
But
it's too depressing.
But like, I give you one last example before we end the show. This month on Netflix, this new Beverly Hills Cop is coming out, right? Axel F. And it looks pretty good. I've seen the trailer for it. Beverly Hills Cop is a hilarious movie. I remember seeing that in the movie theater. Remember the banana and the exhaust pipe? They better do that in this movie. That was in 1984. Yeah. Right?
I was 14.
That was 40 years ago, right?
I know.
So I want you to think.
How do you think Eddie Murphy feels?
He looks great.
I know.
He looks great. Have you seen his house? Eddie's fine. Okay, you seen his house? But, okay, so that was 40 years ago, like this summer, right? 40 years ago, like now, when Beverly Hills Cop came out. And I'm watching I watched the trailer for Beverly Hills Cop, and then I saw an interview with Judge Reinhold, Eddie Murphy, and then the other guy that plays Taggart. I forgot his name. I don't know that actor's name. You know, the older actor?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that time between, because I remember seeing Beverly Hills Cop in the theater like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay? I have less time to live than between now and when I saw Beverly Hills Cop in a theater.
You might live to be 100.
Very few people.
You might die tomorrow.
That's true.
You know, I mean,
but that
you can't look at it that way.
But
you never know.
That kind of stuff depresses me. I know that's weirdo math. Do any of you guys do that?
I mean, my sister's husband had a heart attack at 41. They call it the Widowmaker. He almost died.
Yeah.
You know, and their kids were smaller. You know, she's 49 now, so that was 8-9 years ago. He was 41 years old. So I had a cousin who died of cancer at 43. You never know.
That's true. So let me know if you guys do any of that weirdo.
Yeah, don't do that crazy math.
Death thought math that I do. I don't do it all the time. I don't want you guys to think I go through life like that all day.
No, but I know what you mean. Like, it's like when you think of it in those terms, when you think of it, it's a little.
I start doing this math. And that's what really freaks me out.
When you think of the time span between now and Vietnam, or you know what I mean?
Kathy,
you start thinking of these weird
things. Tomorrow you're going to be 54, right?
54, that's right. I was born in 1970.
I can remember when my grandmother was like 51, right?
Yeah,
and I was a little kid.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? So we're beyond like the
when my dad was my age, I was 22.
Yeah.
He's 32 years older than me. I was 22. I was in college at FSU. So I vividly remember that.
And he's
like, because
it's crazy. I shouldn't be doing that kind of math.
No, you shouldn't.
Well, listen,
you're just going to drive yourself nuts.
We're out of time.
You're going to get like Joy Reid.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Start talking about Waffle Houses and Best Buy.
And wearing the Trump wig like she was doing. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I'll go nuts. Listen, guys, on that note, we will say goodbye.
Goodness.
We are out of time. Even though we're not going to have a new podcast tomorrow because it's Kathy's birthday.
I'm going to take the day off.
I will, you know me, I'll never take a day off. I work on my own birthday. I'll be on the air tomorrow. Don't worry, guys. I'm working on the 4th of July.
And you're working on my birthday.
I work on my own birthday, Kathy.
I know.
I'll probably be working the day of my own funeral. I'll probably go to work that day.
You probably will.
I can't take a day. I work on Christmas.
I know.
I did like a show on YouTube on Christmas this year.
I know.
Taking live calls. Well, listen, guys, we'll talk to you next time. My name is Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We will talk to you next time.